Hey everybody, and welcome back to the macro. Here we are, new year. It is 2025. I hope that y'all excited. I hope that everyone didn't stay up too late last night and that you were hopefully able to get some rest. We got to talk about something. Can Trump bring down prices in 2025? Now, my short answer is don't bet on it. And so we get a lot to talk about in this regard. So a couple of things. Now, in terms of Trump's economic policies, can that alleviate some of the pressure? Yes. Now, if we start producing much more oil here in the United States, which I believe that we will, there are certain things that are tied to commodity prices, like oil, right, that may go down in price a little bit. But I think this idea of we're going to go back to 2018, 2019, even early 2020 prices is really just wishful thinking, and that all of us should be prepared for this level of inflation that we're seeing now to relatively stabilize, and at some point inflation going higher in the future. Okay, so from Trump's perspective, yes, there are some things that he may be able to do that will help, but going back to the way things once were, going back to normal, it's not going to happen. Now, I'm going to leave a link to this video in the description, and this is from 10 months ago. So this is a segment that the show 60 Minutes put on with Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve. And by the way, when you have a chance, study the Federal Reserve. Look it up if you're unaware of what the Federal Reserve actually is. And it's not federal, by the way. Anywho, there's two different clips on YouTube. There's one that's like 15 minutes long or something like that, and then there's another one where it's like the full thing. But anywho, go to, if you're on the 15-minute video, you can go to like the 6 minute and 50 seconds portion of it and listen to that. And I'm actually going to play this here in a second because it's actually very telling. And historically speaking, we know that in the last 30, 40 years, whatever, we have not seen, right, prices go down in a significant way. We've only seen them increase over time. And then just recently, we have experienced a quite painful inflationary scenario. And again, I know I mentioned this in multiple videos before, but it's mainly because of all of the money printing that went into the hands of the businesses, the corporations, right, the consumers too, especially, the stimulus checks alone, the extra benefits from the federal government for those who are unemployed, right? So now you have money entering in from all these different channels, combined with the supply chain breakdown. Because if you remember, the ports were told to shut down, right? Especially over in the West Coast. What a mess. And then trucking, a lot of trucking shut down as well. So that caused a supply and demand imbalance. Because we had a situation where you had all of this money chasing less goods and services, which caused the prices to go up. And so we're still feeling those effects today. But anywho, I'm gonna play this video, and if you've never heard this before, it's gonna be very telling. And like I said, this is from last year, 10 months ago. Let's check it out and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Often travels to listen to the country, and we met him at Spelman College in Atlanta, where the talk was of higher prices. Inflation is one thing, prices are another. And I wonder if there is any reason to believe that people will see the prices of things decline.
So the prices of some things will decline, others will go up, but we don't expect to see a decline in the overall price level. That doesn't tend to happen in economies except in very negative circumstances. If you think about the basic necessities, things like, bread and milk and eggs, prices are substantially higher than they were before the pandemic. And so we think that's a big reason why people have been relatively dissatisfied with what is otherwise a pretty good economy.
But those prices will not soften short of something like a recession.
Things that are affected by commodity prices, like, for example, gasoline prices have come way down. Some food prices that incorporate the price of commodities, grains and things like that, those can come down. But the overall price level doesn't come down.
The Federal Reserve.
So, you heard it from Jerome Powell himself, right, from the Federal Reserve. They control monetary policy here in the United States, and they also are able to set their interest rates, which is the interest rate for the overnight lending for the banks. Okay, it doesn't set real interest rates, but he just told us, and this is from 10 months ago. So what he said, the main takeaway is that in healthy economies, in most economies, right, we don't see this happen. We don't see major price declines in goods and services. And historically speaking, that's what we've seen as well. So again, that video is so telling. Now, just to talk about a few other things here real quick. If you're not aware, one of the things that we don't want to see here in the United States, and when I see we, I'm mainly talking about the Federal Reserve and even the government, even if they don't come on and really say it, is deflation. Okay? Everyone knows what inflation is, right? We don't have to go over that anymore. Everyone's experienced some level of pain because of inflation. All right? But then there's deflation and then there's disinflation. And right now, what we're going through is a disinflationary period where we have inflation still here, right? Inflation's always been here. But disinflation simply means that the price of goods and services the prices of goods and services are still going up, but at a slower rate. And deflation, right, is when prices begin to come down and at some point dramatically come down. Now, I know a lot of people are going to want to say that we should have deflation, and so I can understand that. I can understand that all of us, that we'd all want to purchase things that are at much lower prices, right? We all want our mortgages to be cheaper. We all want our rents to be cheaper. We all want maybe our car loan to be cheaper. We all want groceries to be cheaper. We all want whatever it is, kid stuff, things, clothes, things that you're buying, right? Regular essential goods. We all want those things to be cheaper. But think about this for a minute, if you haven't considered it. In a deflationary scenario, that would hurt the profits, the bottom line of some of the biggest corporations and businesses that you know, and even the smaller mom and pop corporate businesses as well. And so if that happens, they're going to be looking to cut cost. So if we experience a dramatic decline of goods and services while we have wages remain where they're at, that's actually going to be a problem over time. I know it seems weird to say that. It seems contrary to what everyone wants. But the problem is, if we go through something like that, the corporations, the businesses, they will have to lay off people. And that's not good for people, right? In general, right? No one wants to get laid off from a good job. It's a very painful experience. So what's more painful at this point? Is it more painful to have this inflation that we've been experiencing stabilize at some point, which I believe it is right now, or we go through a deflationary situation where we see massive unemployment? I know, it's a tough thing. And I know that a lot of Trump fans aren't going to be happy with what I said today, but someone's got to say it. I think that there's a lot that he can try and do, and I hope that his presidency over the next 4 years goes well. I really do. But to think that we are going to go back to 2018, 2019, early 2020 prices, guys, you got to wake up. I really don't think that is going to happen. And the only way that we do is that if we go through a massive recession, much greater than 2008, 2009, much greater than the Great Depression, to see a dramatic decrease in prices. That sounds extreme to say, but I really do believe that. And time will tell. But in my opinion, I'm going to be prepared to see through this level of inflation that we're seeing right now, these prices, to stabilize, to level out. And then at some point in the future, we will go through another high inflationary scenario with probably even higher interest rates than where we're at right now. Something will happen in the future. I'm not here to tell you when it's going to be. I'm not going to predict any of that stuff. But the point that I want to get across is that you should be prepared for inflation to stay, and to prepare for sometime down the road prices to increase even more than where they're at today. Jerome Powell just said it himself. He told us that in most economies, we don't see the overall price level go down, and it's true. So I'm just thinking what we should all prepare for is all. All right, everybody. Hope you got something out of it. Welcome to 2025, and we'll speak again soon. Take care now.